Jordan Love had a very, very interesting quote. He talked to the media recently, earlier this week, about his offense and his expectations going forward, and especially he was asked about his wide receiver room, and this was his comment on not needing a wide receiver one.
Yeah, no, I think like you said, we have a lot of depth at that receiver position, which I think is a really good thing. I think it's a good problem to have, and I think there's, you don't have to have a number one receiver. I think it works out well when you can spread the ball out, and you got different guys making different plays, and you can put them in different areas. I think it puts a lot more stress on the defense, and the calls that they can get in. So I think in the long run it helps us in not having a number one guy, a true number one guy, but I think all those guys can step up and be the one, any given day.
So, do you agree or disagree that the Packers do not need a wide receiver one?
My first impression of hearing this take from Jordan Love was maybe they have a number one and just don't know it yet. Their receiver core is all very young. You have Christian Watson. Last year he had 28 catches for 422 yards and 5 TDs. You have Romeo Doubs. He had 59 receptions, 674 yards, and 8 TDs. Jayden Reed, 64 receptions, 793 yards, 8 TDs. And Dontayvion Wicks, 39 receptions, 581 yards, 4 TDs. These guys can score touchdowns, right? And they can catch the ball. So, and interestingly enough, each of them were the top receiver in at least 2 games last year. So I think Love kind of has it right. You can spread the ball around to these guys. They all have a different kind of skill set. You put them in the right position, they can make some nice plays for you. And who knows, maybe one of them will emerge as a number one this year. I think that the Packers started out poorly last year, largely because the receiver core was so young and inexperienced. They got some time working together, developed some chemistry with Love, and lo and behold, they made the playoffs last year. And they won a playoff game, beat Dallas badly, and they were in the game against San Francisco, right? They had a chance to go down and actually, was it win or tie the game? I can't remember.
It was win.
To win the game in the last series, and Love threw an interception with very little time left. So I think Green Bay's got a good team this coming year, and I think the receiver core is a strength. And as LaFleur said, we're deep. We have a deep collection of receivers. It's a good problem to have. They have rapport with Love, and it's a collective unit. We're excited to get into training camp. Hard to get everyone. It's going to be hard to get everyone the touches they want, but it's a good problem to have. I agree with him.
Absolutely, and I'm actually agreeing with you. I don't think, a lot of the times, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, we talk about the New England Patriots and Mac Jones and now Drake May. You've always heard me and maybe my dad mention how the Patriots need a wide receiver one. Well, yes, because they don't have the quarterback to supplement the need for a wide receiver one. The Packers, on the other hand, it seems like Jordan Love is a hit. So you could have a bunch of wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s, and Jordan Love is good enough, I think, in the back half of the season, going up against San Francisco, I think outplaying Brock Purdy, going into Dallas and beating the crap out of Dallas. I think Jordan Love is probably the answer for the future. They hit on another quarterback. Their 3rd straight quarterback hit. Brett Favre into Aaron Rodgers, now into Jordan Love. And I think really, because they have the quarterback of the future, in my opinion, they don't need a guy to be that X factor, the one that defenses need to game plan around, the one guy that could really just take over. Because any guy on the Packers at any given time could show up in a big way. Hell, you take a look at the game last season against Minnesota when they won 33-10 late in the season. Bo Melton had 105 yards and a touchdown. Bo Melton, who honestly, throughout the entirety of the season, wasn't a guy, really, that you go to. He had 218 yards and 1 touchdown.
He came back at the end of the season there.
Right.
He was a rookie.
Right. But you talk about Christian Watson is growing. Romeo Doubs had a good year, sans Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers and him never really clicked. Neither really did Christian Watson until about the back third of the season. You got Dontayvion Wicks making some good plays. They have a lot of pieces that are Jayden Reed also had a tremendous
64
season.
receptions is not bad.
Not bad at all. Let's look here. So Reed, Wicks, Watson, and Doubs combined for 190 catches, nearly 2,500 yards, and 25 touchdowns. They don't need a wide receiver one because every single one of those guys is playing a big enough role. You don't need a wide receiver one when you got 3 or 4 wide receiver twos.
Yeah, and also you've got a top 10 quarterback throwing the ball. I think
You're thinking Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback.
I do. 4,159 yards last year, 32 TDs, a 96 quarterback rating. He's a top 10 guy, I think. I'd put him in the top 10.
Well, he did play tremendous, barring the circumstances. The first season without Aaron Rodgers, still making it to the playoffs, winning a playoff game, and especially after that horrendous first half of the season, bouncing back, settling down and playing actually really, really good football. And in the playoffs, playing also very well. 5 touchdowns to only 2 picks, 67% completion percentage. He had 470 about yards, 466 to be exact. Passer rating of 108 in the playoffs. That was his first series of playoff games, and he performed very, very well. So I think the Packers hit on another quarterback, and hitting on that quarterback will suffice for not having a wide receiver one. The Patriots, Mac Jones needed the help. I think a lot of quarterbacks in the Patriots situation, if you're a mid-tier quarterback, you cannot succeed very well or really at all in the Patriots level of offense and the Patriots level of skill position players. That's why I think Drake May might actually not perform very well. But when it comes to the Packers, who had a very promising deep threat in Christian Watson, a very big deep threat as well, Romeo Doubs just needed to get going. Him and Aaron Rodgers didn't really click. Wicks having a tremendous year. And then Jayden Reed also stepping up big time. I think the Packers have a bunch of nice young... They were the youngest team in the NFL last season. Nice young talent. They don't need a guy to separate because all of them perform at a relatively high level.
I think the front office made a good choice in recognizing that they have a receiver core that can develop further and has a lot of potential, and they use their draft picks to draft Jordan Morgan, an offensive lineman, in the first round, and McShawn Lloyd at running back in the third round, and they brought in Josh Jacobs as well.
Well, you need to fill an offensive line spot because Bakhtiari's out of there.
Yeah,
Bakhtiari decided to part ways, so you needed to get an offensive lineman in there,
and they did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think honestly, I think that's gonna be a hit as well. I think it's gonna be a good situation for the Packers this season. Now, my big problem is because you have them. We're gonna get into our standings in the very next topic. I have them number 2. I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. I have them number 2 in the NFC North, but that's only because of division record. They have in my prediction when I went through game to game to make these predictions. They were tied with the Lions in wins and losses.
Me too.
The Lions only beat them due to division record.
Yeah, that's what I. That's
I think
how
I had them.
too.
I think I was 11-6 or 12-5. So I do think the Packers are going to be a good team. My big sort of pet peeve is what's the defense going to look like for 2024? Because it was very underwhelming. They were below average last season. Jair Alexander didn't play the full season, had a couple injuries here. But in its totality, the defense is not very good. If we're below average, I won't say very good, not very good. They're below average. I think that could sometimes, if Jordan Love is having a similar start to the season like he had last year, the defense is going to need to step up because, if we remember, the Packers only had a shot to make the playoffs 2 years ago in Aaron Rodgers last year because the defense was stepping up massively when Aaron Rodgers was playing average. It was the defense making the big-time plays and the big-time stops that allowed the Packers to even have a shot in Week 18 against the Lions to get into the playoffs. Now, they lost that game, but the defense, that end of the season was the reason why. Jordan Love stepped up big here. Now, the defense played pretty well against the Dallas Cowboys and played pretty well against the San Francisco 49ers. But we're talking about collectively over the course of a season, we need to see them play well. And I think Jordan Love grows here. I think he progresses. I think he grows as a player. 4,300 yards is definitely not out of the question. I think we could see a 35 touchdown season, just limiting the turnovers, limiting the bad plays, the crucial plays that cost your team other games or crucial drives. That's gonna need to be what Jordan Love focuses on this season, because otherwise, it seems like another quarterback hit for the Packers.
Yeah. I like the Packers. I have them making the playoffs. I have them with a good record here. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. The one thing I think they made a mistake on is letting Aaron Jones go. That guy played so well for them last year, particularly in the playoffs. Man, he was money. and they might miss him.
I think that is going to be the massive loss here. You lost Aaron Jones, and did you replace him with a quality back?
Yeah,
you did.
Jacobs
Josh
is.
Jacobs, right. Now, who do you think is better? Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones?
I think for the Packers, he was chemistry for them. You know, he was fair. A Packer, and letting him go and Josh Jacobs we don't know how he'll fit in with them. I mean, he's a good player. He's had some really good games. He played well for the Raiders, right? He was the Raiders running back and did well for them. But will he do well for the Packers? Will he play well in that cold weather environment up there? It's kind of a little bit of an unknown. Why would you leave Aaron Jones to go to him? I don't get it.
Well, I maybe because of this. Because both Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones last season missed a little bit of time. Aaron Jones missed a little bit more. The last full season, which was 2 years ago, so 2022, the last time they each played a full season, we saw Aaron Jones have a respectable 1,100 yards, the 2 touchdowns I don't love, but 1,100 yards nonetheless. Josh Jacobs, 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. Maybe that has something to do with it. He also had a tremendous game. I forget who it was against, but he had a very, very long run. He had over 200 yards rushing one of the games. But maybe that's why. Maybe they're saying Josh Jacobs could be a better version of Aaron Jones, a more agile version of Aaron Jones, and create more production than Jones did with his time in Green Bay. But you know what? It's going to be interesting to see. I do think Jordan Love is the answer. I agree with Love that they don't need a wide receiver one because they have suitable enough talent, enough of it to go around. Like Jordan Love said in the clip, they're deep enough wide receiver-wise for them to make a massive impact in a game. Like I said, was it Bo Melton? 105 yards and a touchdown in one game. He had 218 yards the entirety of the season. Anybody could pop off at any time. And that's something that the Packers have because they're 5 wide receivers deep that are very, very respectable. So as long as Jordan Love can get them the ball, let your playmakers make plays.
Yeah, he was able to do it last year once they got it going there. It took them a little while to get oriented, but once they did, man, they were great. And they went deep into the playoffs. So
big time.
I think they'll be good.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.